November 2nd, and today I'm going to be harvesting everything that there is left to harvest out of the garden. Tomorrow, right now it's about 55, which is comfortable in the sunshine, but tomorrow the low will be getting down to about 37 degrees is what is forecasted. But 37 is awfully close. You know, if it were to get a little bit lower than what they predict, we could have a frost tomorrow evening. And I have a lot of stuff out here that is not frost hardy that needs to be harvested and preserved. So I thought I would take you along with me today as I go around the garden and show you what kinds of things need to be harvested before your first frost in the fall. And also what I plan on using those things for, how I'm going to be preserving what I'm going to do with my harvest. So let's get started. Just wanted to take a second to show you all of these zinnias. Aren't they gorgeous? This is my first year growing zinnias and I'm in love. I'm going to be growing them every year from now on. These turmeric plants in the back, the leaves are already starting to turn yellow and droopy, but they definitely are not frost tender. So after the frost, all of these turmeric plants will die back, and then that is when I will be harvesting the turmeric roots, and I'll be sure to make a video showing you how I do that. So the first thing I'll get started harvesting out here is the okra. I don't have that much okra to harvest, and it's going to be quick and easy, so I'm going to go ahead and get that over with. I have two kinds of okra, Clemson spineless and Jing orange okra from Baker Creek. So I didn't get a ton of okra from this harvest. Okra is a really hot weather plant. Okra just really thrives in the really hot heat of the south, and it's cooled down, so production has slowed down. But I do have some beautiful okra that I will add to some soup or stew or succotash, or I might just fry it up in the air fryer or roast it in the oven. Actually, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this okra. I haven't pickled any okra yet, and pickled okra is really delicious to me. Some people don't like it, but this is pretty much the right amount for a pint jar, so I'm just gonna poke a few holes in this okra, and you can look online to find a recipe, or I'll link a recipe in the description for pickled okra. It's really simple to just make quick refrigerator pickled okra. You don't have to have any canning equipment or anything. Just stick it in some vinegar, water, sugar, spice mixture, and it's a really delicious snack. So behind me are my tomato plants, which are pretty much done. They've been pretty much done for a long time. However, I have still been getting cherry tomatoes, and I'm looking around and I don't see a lot of ripe cherry tomatoes. I came out yesterday evening and harvested a couple handfuls of red ripe cherry tomatoes for salads for dinner last night. So there aren't a lot of ripe tomatoes out here, but there are quite a few green cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest all of the green cherry tomatoes because I've never done it before, but I've heard that you can also pickle green cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to try that and tell you how it goes. So I did get a good bit of nearly ripe and unripe cherry tomatoes, which looks to be just about enough for a 1 jar of experimental pickled green tomatoes. I'll link a recipe for those in the description as well. Alright, up next is the pepper patch. I have got bell peppers in here, banana peppers, as well as jalapenos and these Thai red chilies over here. So I've got, and there also might be a couple of eggplants hidden in among the peppers. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest all of this, and I'll let you know how I'm going to use each different kind of pepper. So as you can see, I have just a ton of these Thai bird's eye chilies. And my plan for these, since I've already got a couple of jars of these fermenting inside, I'm fermenting them, and then when they're done fermenting, I'll blend them up into a hot sauce. These peppers are very, very spicy. And so what I'm gonna do with the rest of these is I'm just going to snip them. I'm going to snip the plant right about here, and I'm going to bundle all of the stems together and hang them upside down, probably hang them upside down inside of a paper sack and let them dry out. And once they're completely dried, I'll probably grind them down in the blender into a dried chili powder. I highly recommend growing these peppers because they were so easy. And it's a funny story, I actually grew all of these pepper plants from seeds that I got from my Thai takeout. I got some Thai food delivered to the house, and it had a garnish on the side of dried red chili pod. And so I just saved the seeds from the dried chili pod and thought that I would just see if they germinated. And every single seed germinated. And so I got all of these peppers for free just with my Thai food. Right, so I'm done with the pepper patch harvest. I got a handful of banana peppers, which I will pickle. I love pickled banana peppers. And I got just a ton of beautiful green bell peppers, some of which are pretty good size. So I'll use as much of the green bell peppers fresh as I can, and then I will freeze. I will end up dicing and freezing a lot of the bell peppers. I got a few eggplant, one really large one, and a few small eggplant that are not quite ripe yet. I'll use those fresh, probably make either a curry or eggplant parmesan. And I have just a ton of jalapenos, a ton of them. And I really love pickled jalapeno slices, so I've got some that are already fermenting inside. So I might make another jar of fermented jalapeno slices. I might do some straight vinegar pickled jalapenos, but I really have a lot, so I might end up dicing and freezing some of the jalapenos as well. And then this is the mountain of the chili peppers that I harvested. So I think I'll try and strip off as much of the leaves from these sections that I harvested. And after I've stripped off the leaves, I will get a rubber band and just bundle several of these stems together, put a rubber band around the stem here, and then just hang it somewhere, possibly place it into a paper bag and hang that up. and let the peppers dry. I might look into drying them in the oven as well. I don't have a dehydrator, but yeah, all of these red chili peppers are going to be dried. So I was about to harvest lima beans because I was thinking the frost is coming, I need to harvest as many lima beans as I can, but I just learned that apparently lima beans are similar to snap peas in that they can survive a light frost. Really anything above 28 degrees is going to be fine. They might have a little bit of leaf damage, but the actual beans inside the pods will not be damaged. But if the temperature dips below 28 degrees, then that is when you're going to lose some of that harvest. So I'm really actually excited that I don't have to harvest all these lima beans today. I might get another, week or two before we get, maybe longer, before we get temperatures below 28 degrees, which is really good because some of the lima beans are, some of them are ready to harvest, but a lot of them they haven't filled out and they are not ready yet. So that makes me really excited that I can leave all of these lima beans for a couple more weeks and I don't have to harvest them all today. One more thing that I learned when I was researching and trying to figure out if I needed to harvest these lima beans, I was looking at these pods, the young thin pods that have not filled out yet. I was like, can I harvest these and eat them the same way that I would snap peas? And I actually found some information online saying that don't eat lima beans raw. So lima beans have to be cooked for somewhere between 10 to 30 minutes in order to get rid of a compound that actually turns to cyanide when you eat them. So don't eat raw lima beans, don't eat raw lima bean pods, even though they look like sugar snap peas, because they can be very harmful. So learn something new. So I am going to go ahead and harvest all of these cow peas. Cow peas are also known as black-eyed peas, and cow peas, unlike the lima beans, are a very, very hot weather plant. So as you can see, they're kind of struggling. The weather's gotten cooler, so they don't look as healthy. But so if we were to get temperatures close to 32 degrees tomorrow evening, I would lose a lot of this harvest here that I have. You can see. So all of these pods are ready to harvest because they've started to turn color from that bright initial green, and you can see the shape there. Also, a lot of the pods are dried out and crunchy and papery like this. So I will harvest these that have not dried out yet, and I will shell them and eat them fresh. I will cook them and eat them fresh, or I will freeze them if I've got too many. And then the pods that are already dried like this, I will just shell them and I'll let them dry on some paper towels, continue to dry for about a week, and then put them in a mason jar or an airtight container, and then I'll have dried beans that I can use all throughout the winter. So I've got a lot, and I've got them growing on top of this arched trellis here, which is it's pretty tall up there, so I'm gonna have to get a ladder and just try and get all of the cow peas. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so this is the bean harvest. It's huge red bowl full of the cowpeas. I got a few bonus purple beans as well. The purple beans were pretty much done, but there were a few left out there. And lots of the dried purple beans and dried cowpeas. So I've got more fresh than I do dry. The dried ones I'll just stick in a jar after I dry them out for a couple of days on a paper towel. The fresh ones, I will shell these and eat them fresh or freeze them. So that's a ton for my last harvest of cowpeas and purple beans. That is a ton of food. I've also started tying the peppers into bundles already to dry. Here are the okra and green tomatoes. And this is the eggplant and all those peppers that I've got to harvest. So that's it for this video. I've successfully harvested everything that I needed to harvest, almost everything. Tomorrow I've still got to harvest the herbs, the lemon balm, oregano, and some thyme. I'm going to harvest those tomorrow. The frost is tomorrow evening. I've got rosemary out here, but if you don't already know, rosemary is cold hardy, so you don't have to worry about, well, I think zone 7 and higher, it can last through the winter, but if you're in zone 7 or below, you're gonna need to bring it inside or protect it. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you can see future videos. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Happy growing.